Sir, will you talk to us? Will you tell us the true story? Tell us what happened? I understand it was unbelievable.
It was pretty cool. I tell you what, very cunning. This Amalickiah, he's something else, okay? So my name is Gary Omni. So I am a Nephite, and I was one of those when Helaman started the church, there were some dissenters, people who really didn't want to be part of the church. In fact, we wanted to tear the church down. So Amalickiah, yeah, he flattered me. He told me I could be a ruler over the Nephites. And so I thought, hey, that'd be pretty cool if I was a ruler over the Nephites. So I thought, yeah, I'll do that. Okay. So I was all with him, okay? I was with him at that time, and we were fighting against the church. Well, that didn't go so well because we were thrown out. And Amalickiah and all of us dissenters, we went into the wilderness, and we wanted to get stronger, and we thought, hey, we can band up with the Lamanites. We can come back and we can beat these Nephites, right? And we could take control, and I could become a ruler. Well, Moroni had some other ideas, and he was able to get a lot of us who went with Amalickiah, and he stopped us and brought us back, and he showed us the title of liberty. And when I saw that title, I knew that was the truth. That was the way. That was the way of God, to protect our freedoms and our land and our families. And I was all on board. I was converted to the gospel of Jesus Christ at that point. So Moroni, he said, you know what? I don't think Amalickiah knows that you came back here. I want to send you back into the wilderness, catch up with Amalickiah and become a spy. So I did. I caught up with him as Amalickiah and his group, they were on their way to the land of Nephi to try to convince the king and the people there to join efforts and fight against the Nephites. Well, the king was all on board with Amalickiah's plan, but a lot of the people weren't, and a lot of the people, they left. They split. They did not want to fight the Nephites anymore. They knew that they would lose. So the king, though, he was flattered by what Amalickiah had to say, and he put out a proclamation to all the people that they had to fight. So with those people who fled into the wilderness, the king said to Amalickiah, take my army, the ones who are sympathetic to our cause, and go and gather all those people who fled and bring them back and get them to fight with us against the Nephites. So Amalickiah thought, you know what? This is all playing into my hand. This is part of my plan. So Amalickiah got that army, got that big group of men, and brought them into the land of Noda. And it was a mount. There was a mountain there called Antipas, and he brought them to the base, to the valley of that mountain, and he sent some of his goons up that mount to go ahead and tell the leader of that group of dissenters that he wanted to talk to them.
So wait a minute. Let me get this straight. You're saying that on top of the mountain were a bunch of Lamanites who did not want to fight the Nephites, but the king of the Lamanites wanted them to fight, so they were sending an army to bring them back?
Yeah, that's basically what happened. And guess what? Those people, those dissenters who were on that mount, they knew that the king was going to try to gather them up again. So they were prepared to fight the army of the king. So they were preparing on that mount to fight them. So when Amalickiah got there and told his goons to go up there and tell the king, tell their leader. Now their leader's name was Lehantai. Lehantai said, no way am I going to go down there and talk to Amalickiah. That guy's scum, okay? He's gonna kill me. And so they came back to Amalickiah, told him what the leader said, what Leonti said, and he said, go back up there and say, no, I'm a good guy, I want to work with him. And they went back up. Again, Leonti said, no way. And then they went back down, and Amalickiah sent it back up, and again he said, no way. So this time, the fourth time, what happened was Amalickiah brought his goons with him. He went really close to the camp of where Leonti was, and he told his goons to go over there and tell Leonti, okay, he's just right over there, you can bring your guards with you, the whole 9 yards, you'll be safe, he just wants to talk to you. Okay, why do you want to talk to him? He told him, here's the plan, I've got the king's army down there, and I'll let you go ahead and overtake that army, and as long as you make me the second in command of your group.
So
your army.
he wanted to be a traitor. He was being a traitor to the real king to flatter this guy and say he could come down and capture all the king's guys. That doesn't make sense. Why would he want to do something like that? So he leaves his army, goes up there, tells this army that they can come down and capture his own army. What was he thinking?
It was all part of a major plan that he had to go ahead and get the largest army possible to go up against the Nephites. So before morning, he had the army of Leonti come down there, and they surrounded the king's army, and the king's army were like, we're all gonna die, right? Basically, it was either fight and die, or they could surrender. Well, they all begged with Amalickiah, oh, can we please just surrender to them so we don't die? And Amalickiah said, yeah, I think so. Yeah, you can go. Yeah, let's all just surrender to them. And at that point, Leonti becomes the second in command. Well, back then, if the leader of an army dies, then the second leader gets to become the leader. Kind of like if the president of the United States dies, vice president becomes the president, right?
Wait, so Leonti is the main leader, but he makes who? Amalickiah, the second in charge.
Yep,
Wow.
the second
wow.
leader. So what does Amalickiah do? He has one of those goons of his, gives him some poison, says, just go ahead and poison Leonti little by little until he finally dies. So it took a while, but little by little, Leonti got sicker and sicker until he died, and nobody suspected Amalickiah did that. No one suspected that it was poison. They just felt it was natural causes. And guess what? Leonti becomes the leader of not only all those dissenters...
No, not Leonti.
You're right. Amalickiah.
Yeah. Leonti dies. Amalickiah is now in charge. Is that...
Are you telling the story or am I telling the story?
Is that crazy or what?
So Amalickiah becomes the leader of not only those dissenters that Leonti was over, but also the king's army. So he had this huge group of people, this huge group of men, and they marched now back to the city of Nephi, to the land of Nephi, and the king sees them approaching and is going, oh my, look at that army.
And this is the Lamanite king who sent guys out there.
Exactly. So he figured that, oh, Amalickiah did exactly what I told him to do. He gathered all those dissenters, and now they're all on board to go ahead and fight against the Nephites. So now Amalickiah, he didn't want to just be ruler over this army. He wanted to be the king himself. So he goes ahead and he sends his goons ahead of him. These guys are good. So he sends his goons over there and to tell the king what happened, that they were able to gather all these dissenters and they were ready to battle now. And as they're kneeling down and the king is going one by one to congratulate them, one of them stabs him in the heart and he dies.
What? Wait, one of Amalickiah's guys kills the king of the Lamanites?
Yes. And so now, the servants of the king, they saw this and they knew that they were next. They were going to be killed next. So they ran. They split. And the Amalickiah comes into the king's castle and is like aghast. Oh no, what have you done? Of course he's just playing. He's acting. Oh no, what have you done? Oh, this is horrible. And we need to go after those servants because they're the ones who killed the king. So he convinced all the people that the servants were the ones who killed the king, not Amalickiah's men. And not only that, but then they go to the queen. The queen wants to hear the story herself. This is the Lamanite king's wife, right? And the queen is like, I'm not really believing you. But then he has his goons, Amalickiah has his goons tell her the story too as witnesses, and she believes them. Not only that, but she's charmed by Amalickiah, and Amalickiah marries the queen. So he becomes the king over all these people. The Lamanites, the Lemuelites, the Amalekites, the Ishmaelites, and all the Nephite dissenters. Now they're one big army. And I'm back here now in Zarahemla. I let Moroni know of everything that was going on, and we're now preparing for war here in Zarahemla in all the cities. Every single city we're fortifying so we can protect our land and our families and our rights and our freedoms.
Oh my gosh, this is an unbelievable story. This guy is worse than evil. Oh my, what a bad dude. Oh, I hope that we can protect ourselves from him. He just sounds like he's partners with the devil.
Definitely. I mean, that is exactly true. He worked with Satan to come up with this plan, and he succeeded. And now we have to stop him. Will you join me in our efforts?
Oh yes, I'm flying the flag at my home too. We're getting everyone we know to be ready, to prepare. We've been building all of our fortifications. Well, I better let you go because I know that you're busy helping build things as well. Thank you for telling us this story. Wow, that Giriantai guy was so cool, and he told us the whole story. But what can we learn from that story? Why would Mormon put that story in the Book of Mormon? Why do we need to know about the wicked things that Amalickiah did? Well, there's some lessons we can learn for ourselves in those stories. Let's take a look at the one about Leahontai on top of the hill. So, at first, Leahontai, he was a Lamanite, and he did not want to fight the Nephites. So he got everybody with him who did not want to fight the Nephites, and they went high up on this hill. But he knew that Amalickiah would get an army and come try to get him down and kill him. So they were preparing for war up there on top of the hill. So sure enough, here comes Amalickiah. But instead of going up there, he sends a guy up there and says, "Hey, come down and talk to Amalickiah. Come down and talk to him." And Leahontai says, "No." So Amalickiah doesn't stop. He does it again in the middle of the night. He goes up again a little ways and sends up a messenger and says, "Come down and talk to Amalickiah." And Leahontai says, "No." So then a third time in the night, comes up and says, "Hey, come down and talk to me." And Leahontai, he was made king over these people who didn't want to fight the Nephites, and he says, "No." So does Amalickiah give up? Nope. This time he has a new plan. This time he goes up really close to Leahontai, and he says, "I'm really close. Bring your guards with you. You'll be safe. I won't hurt you. I don't have my guys with me, and I don't have my sword. I just want to talk. We'll sit over here on this blanket and just have a little chit-chat, okay?" So this time, Leahontai feels safe
And he says, okay. So he goes and has a talk to him. And Amalickiah says, bring your guys and I'll help you. Come down here and we'll capture my guys if you'll make me second in charge. And you'll have all these guys plus your guys. So Leonti says, okay. And they do. And he captures all of these guys. And now Amalickiah is second in charge and Leonti is first in charge. But Amalickiah poisons Leonti and he dies. So he was just trying to trick him all along. So in this story, he said no, didn't he? But he kept being bugged and it kept being easier and easier. And finally he says, okay, I'll do it. And it led to his destruction. So how could that apply in your life? What about saying bad words? You say, hey, I will not say bad words. I know that you're not supposed to swear and say bad words. But then you're at school. Hey, I hear a lot of bad words at school. A lot of kids say bad words. And then you're watching TV and you hear them saying bad words. And you think, well, I hear bad words on TV. Oh, well, I hear them at school anyway, so I'm not going to change the channel. I can keep watching it. It doesn't matter if I hear bad words because, after all, I can't get away from them. They're at school, they're when I'm out at the playground, so I might as well watch them when they're on TV. So you're hearing bad words all the time. And then you got really mad. You were so mad, and you know what popped into your head? A bad word. You thought it. You thought a bad word in your head. Then you're out playing. Oh, bad word. I missed again. Now you've said the bad word. And now it's easy to say the bad word because you said it once. But you know what happens? Just like Leonti, something dies. You know what dies for you? You can't have the Spirit with you if you aren't choosing the right. So now the Spirit leaves you and you can't have those happy feelings from Heavenly Father because you only get those when you're keeping the commandments and choosing the right. So how can we stop this problem? What could Leonti have done? He could have kept saying no, And in your case, if this was you and you hear the kids saying bad words at school, what could you do? You could leave the area. You could say, hey, I don't like those bad words. Don't say them. To help not hear them all the time, but you still may hear them. And when you're in a place where they are, like on TV, you change the channel. You don't watch those shows anymore that say the bad words. And if you happen to get a bad word in your mind, you can sing a primary song to get rid of it. And then make sure you keep saying, no, I will not say bad words, and you don't say it. And then you have the Spirit with you. And Heavenly Father's happy, and you'll be happy. So what happened to Leonti can happen to us. We have to be careful. We have to notice those little things. Sometimes when we see things over and over again, even though they're bad, they start to seem okay just because we're seeing them over and over again. So that's why it's important not to watch bad shows or listen to bad music, because the more you listen to it, the more it becomes okay, and then you lose the Spirit. So that's the sad thing. So let's take a look at Captain Moroni and Amalickiah. What about the two of them? What's different about the two of them? Okay, we're going to pick things about Captain Moroni or about Amalickiah. You choose which one goes with which person. All right, we'll start over here. Believed in the prophet. Which one believed in a prophet? Amalickiah or Captain Moroni? You're right. Captain Moroni. Okay. Which one did not obey God's commandments? Well, I would have to say that is Amalickiah. How about which one told lies to people? Who told lies? You're right, Amalickiah. Okay, who obeyed God? Oh, I'd have to say that is, you're right, Captain Moroni. Who wanted power for himself? Well, he was a captain. Is it Captain Moroni? Who wanted all the power? It was Amalickiah. He wanted to be the ruler and the king. Captain Moroni never wanted those things, did he? Okay, who tricked people? Who tricked them? Oh, that was Amalickiah. Okay, who had faith in Jesus Christ? Oh, definitely Captain Moroni. In fact, look at this one. Who did not believe in Jesus Christ? That would have to be Amalickiah. Okay, how about this one? Did not like fighting and killing. Well, Captain Moroni was a head of the army. Did he like fighting? Nope, actually he did not like fighting. In fact, he stopped the war a couple times because he didn't want to win if he had to kill more people. He did not like doing it. Who told the people to obey God and not to sin? You're right, that was Captain Moroni. Who wanted to save the church? That was definitely Captain Moroni. You're right. In fact, Amalickiah wanted to destroy the church. Who wanted to take away freedom? Amalickiah did. He wanted to be the ruler and have everything the way he wanted it, and they wouldn't be able to worship Heavenly Father. Who prayed? I only heard about Moroni praying. Who only cared about himself? I would say that's Amalickiah. That's a big one. That's the main one of his problems, huh? Who always helped people? Well, it wasn't Amalickiah, was it? Who received inspiration? Received inspiration. The Heavenly Father told him what to do so that he would be able to save people. Who did that? It was Captain Moroni. He knew about getting them armor, and he knew about making sure their towns were safe and building walls, huh? Who tried to get people to sin? Not Captain Moroni. He told them not to sin, huh? Amalickiah did. Who hated other people? Amalickiah hated the Nephites, didn't he? He hated all of them. He was so mean. Who loved freedom? Definitely, you're right, Captain Moroni. Who loved the people? You're right again, Captain Moroni. Who had great faith? Great faith. Well, Captain Moroni believed in Heavenly Father, so it was him. Who liked to kill people? Moroni didn't like to fight, so who liked to kill people? Amalickiah killed a lot of people. He had the king killed. He had 2 kings killed, actually. And he wanted to kill everybody so that he could be in power. Who wanted to protect people? Captain Moroni did. He even wanted to protect the Lamanites when he could. Who did not want the people to worship God? Amalickiah. All right, so let's look at these things. Amalickiah did not obey God's commandments. He told lies to people. He wanted power for himself. He tricked people. He did not believe in Jesus Christ. He wanted to take away freedom. He tried to get people to sin. He hated other people. He liked to kill people. He didn't want people to worship God, and he only cared about himself. Wow. And let's look at Captain Moroni. He believed in the prophet. He obeyed God. He had faith in Jesus Christ. He did not like fighting and killing. He told people to obey God and not sin. He wanted to save the church. He prayed. He always helped people. He loved freedom. He received inspiration. He loved the people and had great faith. And he wanted to protect the people. What kind of a person do you want to be? Do you want to be a Captain Moroni? Or do you want to be an Amalickiah? What can you do to be more like a Captain Moroni? What are some things that you can do to be more like a Captain Moroni? How can you show Heavenly Father that you want to be a Captain Moroni and be a great leader who follows Heavenly Father? I know you all can be the great leaders. You can be leaders in your family. You can be leaders at your school. You can be leaders around your friends when you choose the right and stand up like Captain Moroni did. And remember that he was fighting for his family, his God, and his freedom. And those are the things we need to fight for too as we make good choices. Okay. Hope you make good choices and don't run into anybody like Amalickiah. I love you. See you next week.